The time 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Tilani Pires. The President's Committee to probe gas explosions issues some precautionary measures. Work on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Harbour will be completed by next month. The Sri Lanka Medical Association says the theories and opinions put forward by experts on the new variant are yet to be proven. Standard procedure formulated to regulate LP gas and other related industries. In the main news story, all preventive measures had been taken at the country's airports to prevent more possible COVID-19 patients from entering the country. Omicron, India reports first cases of the new COVID variant. The President's Committee to probe gas explosions issues some precautionary measures to be applied to prevent gas explosions. The committee instructs the public to use only SLS-certified gas regulators and the gas supply tubes. It said the regulator can be used only 5 years and it is 2 years for the gas supply tube. It is also instructed to take the service of a qualified technician for the installation of gas pipes and all apparatus for small and medium-scale businesses. The public is also instructed to be vigilant on the gas order until the issue is well settled. The President's Committee said a scientific study will also be conducted to determine whether the composition of the gas has been changed, whilst the committee report is scheduled to be submitted to the President within the next 2 weeks. In the last 3 days alone, 35 gas explosions were reported from several parts of the country. Meanwhile, claiming that immediate intervention of the government was needed to resolve the incidents of the gas explosions. Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath said today steps should be taken to withdraw the controversial gas cylinders from the market, preventing further disasters. He told Parliament that the President had called for a report within 2 weeks and said immediate action was needed for this issue without waiting for more time to address the issue. Minister Rohit Abegunawardena says work on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Harbour will be completed by January. He said 6 cranes will be fixed by April and 20 by June. Work on the Western Terminal will commence following an agreement with Adani Group. The minister said in Parliament both terminals will be made fully equipped terminals by 2024. He said the number of container handling will increase to 14 million once the 2 terminals are completed. Today is the 9th day of the committee stage budget debate. Expenditure counts on ministries or ports, naval, water supply and related state ministries were debated today. Taking part in the debate, MP Nipuna Ranawaka said harbours in the country will be developed to make Sri Lanka a shipping hub. MP Mujamir Rahman said the Western Terminal has been given to India. MP Sampath Athukorala said good governance government sold the Hambantota Harbour to China. Parliamentarian J.C. Alavathuala said more pipe water projects should be implemented in the Kurunegala district. The Sri Lanka Medical Association says the theories and opinions put forward by experts on the new variant are yet to be proven. SLMA President Dr. Padma Gunaratna told a news briefing today that in every pandemic situation, things tend to change from time to time. She said the professionals are of the opinion that the new variant is more transmissible than previous versions of the virus. She added that it may be able to bypass certain levels of immunity. However, these theories are not yet proven to be true. She stresses that all people, regardless of vaccination status, should comply with basic health practices and also requested the eligible persons to get the booster on time without delaying it. Meanwhile, Professor Neelika Malavigi, the head of the Department of Immunology and Molecular Medicine, University of the Sri Javadanapura, said Omicron may spread faster than the other 4 coronavirus strains that have existed so far, and it can be infected to a person even after recovering from COVID-19. She pointed out that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, it will be possible to get a clear idea of the behavior of the variant. She said if immunity is high, there is no need to fear mutant variants. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus, the best option.
The Electricity Sector Regulator for the Petroleum Industry of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, together with Sri Lanka Standards Institute, has already formulated a standard for LP gas and is ready to regulate LP gas and other related industries. Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, Janaka Ratnayaka, said. He also said, however, the Commission does not have the legal powers to enforce the standard. He further said that the LP gas standard has been drafted in accordance with the procedures of the Sri Lanka Standards Institute. The final draft has been prepared considering stakeholder comments and inputs received through the public consultation process. The new standard includes consumer safety requirements when using LP gas cylinders, such as the maximum pressure of the gas cylinders, the maximum percentage of propane in domestic LPG requirements to improve safety, and specify markings such as net weight, test date of a cylinder, etc. It also must be mentioned on the surface of the cylinder, the Public Utilities Commission said. Minister S.M. Chandrasena says there are some issues related to vegetable prices at the market. He said a process will be introduced to send vegetable stocks to the market to rectify the situation. He mentioned this during a press briefing at the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna office today. The minister said lack of coordination between wholesale and retail traders has also contributed to the situation. That ends local news for now.
In 200 meters, turn left.
This is not just my daily commute. I drive to power my nation's future. Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus introduces specialized motor insurance for you who drive our nation forward. Choose tailor-made insurance solutions. Up to 75,000 rupees claim settlements within 3 working hours. Exclusive discounts through Motor Plus loyalty rewards. Easy and 0% interest payment plans. Only from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Health Ministry today said all preventive measures have been taken at the country's airports to prevent more possible COVID-19 patients from entering the country. Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemantha Herath, said a spate of safety control measures have been taken at airports to make sure a COVID patient does not enter. He said the fully vaccinated people and people whose PCR test reports are negative will only be allowed to leave the airport. Dr. Herath also explained measures have also been taken for every infected traveller to be sent either to a treatment or quarantine centre. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
A vast majority of road accidents in Sri Lanka involve motorcyclists, as estimated 70% of which have resulted in deaths. It is suggested a public campaign should be launched to educate them and strengthening the enforcement of traffic rules, especially on young and lady motorcycle drivers. A vast majority of road accidents in Sri Lanka involve motorcycles, an estimated 70% of which have resulted in deaths. According to the police, driving in the wrong lane and driving beyond the speed are some of the most common offences among motorcyclists. That came to you in Watchlight.
Select technical and vocational courses with proper guidance. Visit regional career guidance centers or visit nearest district divisional secretariat offices and meet career guidance practitioners or skills development officers. Be aware on unregistered institute which promote widely. Don't waste your valuable time and money. Visit www.tvec.gov.lk for more information. Message from Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
Coming up, World News. The headlines first. Omicron India reports first cases of new COVID variant. UN says half of Myanmar's population facing poverty shortly. Poland allows journalists access to restricted border area with Belarus. 2 men in the southern Indian state of Karnataka have tested positive for the Omicron coronavirus variant after returning from overseas. The men are currently under observation, a government spokesman said. These are the first cases of the new Omicron variant to be reported in India. The WHO has warned that Omicron poses a high infection risk. Officials said all primary contacts and secondary contacts of the 2 men have been traced and are being tested as well. 6 samples from people who tested positive for COVID-19 in the national capital Delhi and another 6 samples from the western state of Maharashtra have all been sent for Genevieve sequencing to determine the variant. The United Nations say that about half of Myanmar's urban population will be below the poverty line by early next year due to the pandemic and the turmoil since the military coup. The UN Development Programme says poverty in the country is likely to return to levels not seen since 2005. The report also pointed out that the textile, tourism and construction sectors, which are largely located in urban areas, have been hard hit by the pandemic and political upheaval. Half of the urban respondents said they had no savings. Meanwhile, many citizens have sold the motorbikes they used for transportation to cope with their financial struggles. The UN expressed concern about the serious impact this could have on children's health and education. The Polish government has announced that it will reopen a 3-kilometer restricted zone in the border area with Belarus for journalists. A state of emergency was declared in the area in September after large numbers of migrants from mainly the Middle East tried to enter the European Union using the land border between Poland and Belarus. Xinhua news agency reported Polish authorities also prevented journalists and aid workers from entering the restricted zone. Deputy Interior Minister Balaji Pobozy said on Wednesday, as of December 1st, journalists waiting to access the area will need special accreditation and will be accompanied by the border guard during their stay. Reporters will also be required to wear special vests identifying them as accredited media. The new rules will be in force until at least March 1st. Back to the world news headlines. Omicron, India reports first cases of new COVID variant. UN says half of Myanmar's population facing poverty shortly. Poland allows journalists access to restricted border area with Belarus. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
The Agrarian Development Department says that 45 billion rupees has been given to farmers for solid organic fertilizer production. The funds have been provided for more than 647,000 hectares of paddy land. The fertilizer subsidy has been received by 800,000 farmers. A concession of 12,500 rupees will be given for a farmer on the solid organic fertilizer production. The farmers have produced more than 100,000 metric tons of fertilizer. The organic fertilizer producing activities are being carried out by several regional agrarian centers as well. That came to you in Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Moving on with sports news. First, it's tennis. The Women's Tennis Association has announced the immediate suspension of all tournaments in China amid concerns for Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai. Peng, 35, disappeared from public view for 3 weeks after accusing a top Chinese official of sexual assault. WTA chief Steve Simon said he had serious doubts that Peng was free, safe, and not subject to intimidation. And now on athletics, Norwegian 400-meter hurdler Karsten Warholm and Jamaican sprinter Elaine Thompson-Herah have been named World Athletes of the Year. Warholm, 25, won his award for beating the 29-year-old world record and taking Olympic gold in Estella 2021. His Tokyo time of 45.94 seconds is widely considered one of the greatest Olympic track performance of all time. Thompson-Herah, 29, took the Women's Award for achieving the sprint double at a second consecutive Olympic Games. That was sports news. Coming up, business news.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSB U-Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Hambantota International Port Group signed an agreement with the leading cement manufacturing company in Sri Lanka, INC Cement. The agreement will ensure the efficient transfer of raw materials to their factory in Galle via the Hambantota port. This will have a positive impact on the operational efficiency. The agreement was signed between Gustavo Navarro, Chief Executive Officer of INC Cement, and Johnson Liu, CEO of HIPG, at a ceremony held at the Hambantota Maritime Development Center. That was business news.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
And on economic news, the German ambassador to Sri Lanka and Maldives, Holger Schubert, met Governor of the Eastern Province, Anuradha Yagambath, today. The meeting was held at the Secretariat of the Governor of the Eastern Province in Trincomalee. It is reported the federal government is interested in the development of tourism and agricultural sectors in the Eastern Province. The ambassador informed the governor that more than 250 German investors are ready to invest in Sri Lanka. The German ambassador pointed out that this would increase regional development and export opportunities to European markets to boost the Sri Lankan economy. That came to you in economic news. This is the weather report. The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in Sabaragamuwa, Central, Uva and Southern provinces and in Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the evening or night. A few showers are likely in the Northern province. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Western, Uva, Central and Sabaragamuwa provinces. That was the weather report. And now to in this news broadcast, the main points once again. The President's Committee to Probe Gas Explosions issues some precautionary measures. Work on the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Harbour will be completed by next month. The Sri Lanka Medical Association says the theories and opinions put forward by experts on the new variant are yet to be proven. Standard procedure formulated to regulate LP gas and other related industries. And in the main news story, all preventive measures have been taken at the country's airports to prevent more possible COVID-19 patients from entering the country. Omicron India reports first cases of the new COVID variant. That ends this news broadcast.